Once we had that happen, we were kind of like, oh man, like, whoa, we can make a push this year.
And welcome back to another episode of In the Nest here at Emmaus Bible College. We're excited for today because we're talking about the volleyball season, recapping what a year we had. And we're joined by head women's coach Hannah Richter. Coach, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey.
We're here, man. Talk about what a year. I mean, we talked in the middle of the season, kind of like where we were at there. And like, I mean, wow, what a season we had. Can you kind of give us your thoughts on the season? Like, wow. I mean,
that
going
is so
from
broad.
Just spill your guts. No, going from last season, 0-16, to coming into this season when we finished 10-12.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the stark contrast between the 2 years is like the growth too. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, it was night and day.
But we knew that it was coming. So,
I mean, my thoughts. Yeah, obviously it was more fun.
Duh.
Yeah. No, I feel like going into the year, the biggest thing I just wanted us to do was improve, which I knew we were going to do. I just didn't know what the level of improvement was going to be.
Right. Like we knew like, yes, we are winning the game this year. We are going to be competitive, but it wasn't until like, that first weekend, it was like, oh, like when we beat Clark, their JV team, and it was like, oh snap.
Well, and it was like, I feel like Meg and I kept preparing the girls, like, just like be open to anything. And we didn't know what their JV was going to bring over. So we were like, okay, it's either going to be like a good match or we're just going to get bombed. But then we kind of like, we played really, really well. So it really flipped what our expectation was. So yeah, I mean, once we had that happen, we were kind of like, oh man, like, whoa, we can make a push this year. And I think my like target that I set for myself was like, okay, if we win 5 games, we can show that we have improved. Like when we're talking to recruits, like basically we can hold up our end of the bargain of all the talk we've been having with the guys that are coming in 2024 and saying like, hey, right now this isn't an encouraging look on our record, but it's coming. Like we just needed proof.
And boy, did we have
proof.
But
we just kept getting better and better. Not to say there wasn't a lot of times where we like struggled. But I think it just really like comes down to like, we were very, very young, and everybody was new together. So we still had a lot of things to figure out, but yeah, super successful. So, I mean,
we had 4 returners and we had 6 incoming new players. And I mean, just from the get go, like the group was just, they loved each other. And that was just so cool to see, like coming off of last year and like how tight that group was with, all the stuff that they went through. And then this year, like, with the early success, with the success throughout the season, and just seeing like, their character, like we talked about earlier in the couple episodes ago about how we won the sportsmanship award, which back-to-back years, which is amazing. That just shows the character of this team, of who we are, of you and Coach Megan and Coach Tasha and the program that you're building. And it's just like, wow, it's so exciting.
Yeah. And I think that was like our biggest challenge is like being like Christ-centered, committed, competitive, especially like having those 3 things, like we were kind of on like a 3-year like outlook with it. And so last year, like we were 0-16, but we were like super, super, super Christ-centered. And it was really fun and encouraging in that way. And so this year we were like, okay, like we're in like phase 2, like we're Christ-centered, but we also need to maintain that same culture and be very extra committed to that, but also show that we're committed, like they're in the middle, be committed to Christ, but also be committed to making that push for competitiveness that we're like really going for going into year 3. And yeah, they just did that so very well. And I think there were a couple of times we had to like almost bring them back to reality and be like, hey, we're doing well, but like, this is not the peak.
Yes.
And so, yeah, no, the past couple of weeks of just like being in the weight room and like kind of like the start of being out of season, like have been really encouraging too. I don't know. Love those guys.
I think it's really cool to see like, going from last year to this year and the success, but also like knowing like you said, like we're not even close to where we could be at. Like the girls got that taste, that victory taste, they got the conference tournament taste, they got the regional taste of like, okay, like this is where we are, this is where we need to be. And I think like, I mean, like the work they've already put in, like they want it. They really want it. And it's super exciting to see that. And like, man, like I know like last year we talked about like, oh yeah, like the outlook is good for this year. Like we're excited, we're encouraged, like we'll see what happens. But like going from this year to next year, it's like, man, like you can make even a bigger jump. Well,
and it was so good where last year, everybody that was in the program had to contribute in some ways they were comfortable with, and some ways they weren't. And so this year it was nice to really see that like we could still carry along our culture, but like have more of like a true team where like we have girls who are in roles that they know or that they could learn. And then we have girls who are on the bench and like being able to come off the bench and fill those roles. But also something I talked to Emma Sand Squirt a lot about is like, even though she was on the bench a little bit more, like the opportunity that she had that, and it was something I didn't realize until we got to like mid-season. We were at Maranatha that night and telling her like, we've formed like our on-court culture and our program culture, but like we've also started to form this like be on the bench, be a great teammate culture. And like she's like a super important component of that. And so like things are just really forming. And so yeah, I'm just like really hoping and praying that as we go into the next fall, that like we stay
with that. I mean, it was so cool to see. Like, I mean, she was the biggest cheerleader out there.
Oh, so fun!
And like
we were making fun of her for it the other night.
Like like especially like with the bench with basketball, or the bench with volleyball. Like that's so key and so important on the momentum swings. The exciting plays. Like you hear the bench get excited when an exciting play in the court happens. Like that just gets the crowd even more excited. And like seeing while she didn't play as much, but she was, the greatest teammate and it's just supported and loved.
It's a priceless role.
It's something that you don't see on your team a lot these days,
and I think,
unfortunately,
and talking to some of the girls about going into next year, because, they have questions like, oh, well, if so-and-so comes, what am I going to do? Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? And, but I think we just genuinely have like a group that no matter what happens, because next year's going to be totally different for us. Like we're going to have true competition to play, and so people are going to have to compete and practice to have the ability to compete in the match.
Yeah.
But I think they all have said, I want the best for the team.
Yes.
Because, you kind of got to ask like, hey, what are you thinking about next year? And not one of them were like, well, I hope that I'm playing in this role. It was nothing related to that. It was all like, I'll do whatever's best for the team. I'll do what you ask me to do. Like, I'm open to whatever my role is. And it's like, it's just so humbling and incredible, like, to be surrounded just by, like, a group of ladies that, I don't know, just, like, love each other that much and can just, like...
And just how bought in they are to what you guys are doing, too.
It's so
like,
good.
Yeah, like, I think, like, first and foremost, like, it's, like, their love for one another drives, I'll do whatever. Like, I want to play. I want to be competitive, but if... someone better comes in, then there's what it is.
There's like never been any like ounce of like bad blood with any of that. So yeah, it's great. I love it.
That's all I know. We're so excited for the future, but let's talk about, some highlights from this year. Obviously, there were a lot of highlights, especially in comparison to the last couple of years. And it's just been really cool to see the growth that we've had, but tell us about some of the highlights from this year. I mean, first I want to say last year, we won 3 sets throughout the year. This year, we beat 3 ranked teams.
Yeah.
And just seeing that stark contrast, it's like, wow. But now you can talk.
Okay. So like, I think, and I was talking to Reggie about it last night, and he's,
Coach Reggie.
I said all these highlights, and he was like, well, those are only competitive highlights. I was like, he just challenges me so well. So, like thinking about like, just like our program highlights that are competitive and non-competitive, like our Christ-centered highlights are definitely like the sportsmanship award, kind of like you said. Like knowing that you can play well and love others well and like glorify the Lord and all the things that we're doing. Like you don't have to pick one or the other. And so it is where
I love what Anna Hartwood on the women's basketball team said.
Yeah.
You can be good and be Christ-like. What? Yes, you can.
But it's hard. It's really, really hard. And especially like from somebody like myself who is equally competitive as they are, and probably more so competitive in the match, because like I know what they can do if they're not doing it. It's just a real testament to them. And it's like really, it's just like nice to know as a coach that the girls who you brought in, like there's a consistency with it. And like, the way that they say they're going to buy in and you're going to buy into them and you're all just going to have that like love and respect for each other, like that it's just coming out and that other people are recognizing it. So that was definitely a highlight. And I think I was just more proud of that than any of the other awards that they got because it was just so cool.
Yeah.
Because they worked really hard for that. Especially having more personalities, it's just,
bigger
it gets harder
too.
So I think a highlight that people wouldn't see, is just like the way that the girls loved each other off the court. They did. So like last year, I think Megan and I really wanted to like run the team devos, and Megan did an incredible job with like putting those together and leading them through those. But the girl, like we kind of told our leadership council and our more senior players, like, this is your responsibility now. And they really took hold of that. And so they've been having consistent team devos through the whole semester, and are planning to do that next semester as well. So I'm really proud of them for that. I think a highlight is Tasha Parker, Coach Tasha being with us. Last year was just like a whirlwind for them. So it just wasn't going to happen, but she's brought a really good piece to our program, just like in the way that she also invests in the girls and loves them and connects with them. But yeah, just like her mind and her skill set, and the things that she enjoys to coach. It was just like,
it just fits right.
So
right
good.
Where you and Coach Megan are at.
Yeah, no, we were really thankful for her. So that was definitely a highlight just to add her in with us too. And I think the girls can agree with that. So I don't know, but then like the competitive highlights, I mean, starting off the top, like I think us taking a set off of Manhattan.
Who was eventually the national runners up in the championship
Yeah, I
game.
mean, they're a great program, and I think I like talk about them almost every time I'm on here just because I have so much respect like for Lauren.
Who was also the national coach of the year.
Yes. I think taking a set off of them really helped set a tone for the duration of our season because it's something that we didn't expect to do. We went into that match telling them like, this might very well be the best team we play all year. And we showed ourselves that we can compete with them. So that was really encouraging. Beating the ranked opponents, being ranked for the first time,
which is
2018.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was short-lived, but it was a nod.
But still,
it was a nod, and
the coaches out there recognized and saw, where we came from to where we are, and really cool.
I think obviously, like you got to put, and I think yes, beating Maranatha, but just that entire few days of playing Maranatha, that 5-set match
on that Friday
that we lost when they were here, like. Whatever happened, the end result wasn't what we wanted, but like that was an incredible match, and we fought under like so many other circumstances that we weren't used to.
Right. I mean, there's like 450 people in the gym, which is
it was so
crazy.
hot, and it was like 2.5 hours. Like who plays volleyball for 2.5 hours? Like you're fighting for 1 point. Each. It's just crazy. I think the way that we played that night, and then coming down from that and feeling discouraged, but turning around and like getting the sweep at their place, like it was just like this perfect, perfect moment in time. And like everybody was on fire that night, just ready to go. And I think we all just had this mutual, like, okay, like we have the same goal. Like, yes, the goal is to win, but the goal is to still love each other well through it. And like whatever happens, happens. And we just like threw our hands up. We're like, let's play. Like, let's have fun. That's all I wanted for that night was to have fun.
And boy, did they go out and play.
And so, it was, that was, I think, easily like our best match of the year. A lot of really fun times, and then there's just like, the quieter things, like just, I don't know, fun times in the car and like good discussions and things that we had. So,
or the things you get to do on road trips and the team bonding stuff. Like, it's a lot. It's really good.
And I think probably one that just popped in my head is like just getting to go to regionals. Because seriously. We didn't, like Meg and I, it took us a long time to process, like we haven't been to regionals since 2019 because it was COVID. And then the next couple of years we just didn't go because it didn't make sense. A good year.
Very good year.
Yeah.
No, and just like, just knowing like that, like, like you said, like not 2019 was the last year that we went to regionals because of COVID and then, travel and our record and stuff. But like, just that alone, it's like really cool to see that and just see like, the steps we've taken forward and like the steps we are continuing to take forward and the steps that we will take forward. And it's just like, man, I don't know. Words can't describe how exciting this is.
Yeah. And I've been telling everybody, like, it's the first time I haven't been burnt out from a volleyball season, whether I was playing or coaching. And so, yeah, no, I'm kind of just
you know,
like,
we're just right
let's just
there.
keep going here. Let's like move forward. Let's get through the summer. Cause yeah, I can see what's ahead, and I don't want to lose the momentum that we have. And so I think like that mindset is really affecting how we're going to be talking to the girls through the second semester. Like, we're just going to change our language. Like, it's not open gym, it's practice. It's not off season, it's just second semester. Like, we're just really changing that because we don't want them to like relax enough.
Yes.
That they forgot
mentally or physically
where we ended. Because yeah, I think there's a lot of really exciting things ahead. So they'll get their rest, they'll get their time.
But right back.
But we're still moving forward. But I think, we're
still such a young team too.
Yeah,
like,
and I think we can do that because like they are young and they're hungry for it. But we also have like personalities of girls who do better when they are challenged and they have things at the forefront of their mind. So yeah, that's really fun.
We gotta do a little bit of bragging.
You're gonna brag?
I gotta brag about you, Coach.
Don't brag about me.
Yes, come on. When was the last time? When was the last time we had a regional Coach of the Year? You were awarded the Midwest Regional Coach of the Year.
It was
and I think
Neil.
it's so cool to see. Well, he won Coach of the Year like what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 18 year, whatever year it was. But I think it's just so encouraging, what you and Coach Megan, Coach Kosh are doing. But like people recognize that. They recognize how last year went and how this year turned out, and they thought that was really cool. And I think that's just really encouraging. Like,
thanks.
Yes, Coach, you are a good coach. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I can remember like in 2018.
Kevin Rand's going to text me right after this and say, yes, he agrees.
Shout out Kev Dog.
K-Dog.
I can remember like in 2018, like getting into the postseason, like I didn't know there was like awards or Libero of the Year, Coach of the Year. I didn't know any of that. So then, Neil got the regional Coach of the Year, and I was like, oh man, like
that's cool.
That's so cool. He got the national coach. I was like, that's so cool. And I remember a few days after we got home from nationals thinking like, that just has to be such a cool feeling. Like your players excited for you and like people like recognizing that you're doing well. Like that's so awesome, and thinking like,
yay.
Yeah, that would feel good. But I just didn't know if I ever really had the desire or if I was going to be in the place in my life to like be the head coach.
Little did we know.
And so, no, yeah, it's something that I didn't really like think about. I didn't want to think about it because I think like there's so many other really, really good coaches out there and like everybody's putting in the same work and same amount of time, but it does feel nice to know that like there is like that little piece of validation, like,
and it speaks to what you're doing here.
Like all the struggles, that like we've kind of gone through and all the stress, like it is being recognized. And I'm just like, I'm mostly happy for the girls with it. Just so they can see like, hey, like we're moving in the right direction.
Good things are happening.
Yeah. So, that was really fun. I got my little plaque on my little corner up in admissions.
On your cubicle.
My little cubicle. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like speaking of with the girls, I mean, I just want to talk about like some of the girls on our team. Like it's crazy to think about, because like I love stats. Like I'm a big stats guy.
And I love that because I am not a stats person. I hate stats.
Like you look at last year's team, like our team stats, like we were at the bottom of pretty much everything. We had, no girls were really, I mean, we only played 16 matches, but like there weren't really any girls that were like, had good stats because of just the way things went. And then fast forward to this previous season, I mean, we were pretty much in the top 10 ranking in everything.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, we had, Salo was fifth and ended up being fifth in blocks throughout the year. Jenica was second in digs. Caitlin was fifth in kills. Michelle was ninth in assists. And, obviously we said Jenica won the Libero of the Year for the Midwest region. Like, how do you like, I don't know, that's just, it's so cool just to see like that stark difference. And let's talk a little bit about, Caitlin, Jenica, the transition Lauren's had to DS, Michelle, Salo, like, tell us.
What do you want to know?
What do you want the people to know?
Oh, I don't know.
The fans.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of like how we talked a little earlier, a few minutes ago, just like on the roles that people fill. I think you have ideas in your head of what a lineup is going to look like based on who you have coming, but you don't know until they get here.
Right.
And I think that the lineup we originally put together in the preseason was not what we ended up doing because Emma, like, she got hurt and she couldn't play. And so we had to, like, last second before our scrimmage, like, switch everything around. And I did not make
No,
it easy.
literally,
I did
last
not
second.
make it easy on them like that. I mean, we talked about the rotation last time I was here. But yeah, no, I think like the group that we had and like those that you mentioned, like
they really stepped up into
they
the
stepped up and
positions that they were in.
because they all were affected. And the whole team was obviously, but you know, like Caitlin, it was like, okay, hey, you're going to be outside and now you're going to have like 2 rotations in the middle and be outside. And hey, Jenica, you're going to be DS, but now you're going to be libero. And hey, Lauren, you're going to be libero, but now you're going to be DSing in left back and setting, and you're going to be hitting maybe some outside,
Everything.
maybe, you know. And so it, you know, and just like having different people in your space at different times, like and having more variety is really hard. And so I think it's a testament to like those guys, but just the entire team that they trusted each other and they trusted me enough to kind of like let us play around with them like that, because it ended up working out.
I mean, you literally changed the lineup like right before the Clark JV game.
Like
and
we
know what happened
I
there.
can't remember if we had one practice with it or if we literally had to walk through it and then we just played it. I you know, so yeah, it was like very late. But yeah, no, I think we have like a very solid and wide base and like core to keep building off of. And I think that really showed in our visit weekend that we had this last weekend. Just the way that like they carried themselves and the way that they like really like came around to the girls that were here visiting. So yeah, no.
I think it just shows like, I mean, when was the last time we had 9 returners? I mean, we're looking at having 9 returners for this upcoming year, and like that's a lot.
It's a lot. You know, I'm just so thankful because I'm like, you know, 2 years ago, the first year it was okay. Hey, this is like a whole new situation, and then this fall it was a whole new situation.
I mean,
and
we
so,
went from having like hard enough time having 6 girls on the court, to like, 9 returners.
And so next
like,
year,
wow.
it's just nice that like I can kind of start to think about other things.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh man, if somebody goes down, what are we going to do? If somebody gets sick, what are we going to do? If somebody doesn't get along, what are we going to do? You know, we can just really like move forward. And yeah, keep looking ahead. So.
And it's not like, okay, who is actually returning? Like we know where we're at. And that's so relieving to have. Like,
yeah, it's a huge relief.
It really is. Yeah. So like, I mean, just, we're so thankful for just the success we've had this year, but like you said, like the 3 C's, we're keeping the Christ-centered first. And that's just so encouraging. Like, I think it just speaks to where, you know, Emmaus athletics is as a whole. Like that's what we value and that's what we're emphasizing. And, you know, praise the Lord that our teams are seeing success with keeping that emphasis.
Yeah.
But looking
100%.
ahead, let's talk a little bit about next year. And obviously when we did this podcast last year on this time, we had, you know, Caitlin had committed by that point, but we already have 3 girls that have committed for next year. Let's just talk a little about the excitement, like holy cow, like the excitement we have for next year. And like we thought things looked differently from last year to this year, but I mean, things are going to look different next year.
So we had our volleyball visit weekend this past weekend, just like a recruit weekend.
It was a lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun. The 3 girls that are already committed were all there. And so, yeah, it was really good just to see them with the returners and see them together and be in the gym together. So yeah, I think, and it was fun, like planning the practice, and I separated the teams and I had like this entire sheet of like different rotations because we could actually play like a real game. It wasn't like, how are we going to play 4-on-4 today? How are we going to play 5-on? It was like, oh man, we have 6-on-6 and we have like 7-on-7 technically. You know, like, that was in the gym this weekend. We haven't had in like
ever.
But yeah, no, the 3 girls that we have coming, with one of them coming next semester. Yeah, no, they're all just so great. We love their personalities. We love their hearts. They're all coming here for the right reasons, which is school and to grow with the Lord and grow in their faith, and have good community. And so I'm really thankful for that. Like volleyball is just like this awesome added bonus.
Like, oh, I get to play it also. Wow.
Yeah. And, so I think that just brings like a different, I don't know, I don't love the word vibe, but like a different vibe, you know, to the group, you know, versus I think coming to a school like with the purpose of athletics and then, oh, I guess I'll do my degree in this. Like it just brings this different. Like, there's not that like level of humility of like just being open to like what the Lord like brings into your
Right.
life, like, you know, through the vessel of
Or
sport
sometimes
or
even
your teammates or
coachability, too,
whatever,
isn't
and the
there?
coachability. And so, yeah, no, I love the 3 we have coming. They definitely are going to up our level of competitiveness in the gym and on the court in our matches. So we're going to have some good opportunity to compete pretty much every day in practice, which is going to make us better. We've got to just play to be better.
Which I think is exciting because like we haven't had that in a long, long time. And like just knowing like, you know, practices are going to be hard, but they're going to be super good, and it's going to make each person get better because they're going to have to. Yeah.
And I'm just having a better ability to like make our game schedule a little bit tougher, which is nice too. Yeah. So not as much travel, better competition,
get those power ratings up.
Yeah. So no, I'm really looking forward to it. Still hoping for maybe 1 or 2 more at least.
That people would read their emails, right? No.
But yeah, no, we feel pretty good about the girls that we have, and the ones that we're hoping for. So we're kind of starting to move forward to looking at like 25, 26 and keep it rolling. So. And
just be a part of this team, this culture, this culture that represents Christ well, that elevates, you know, his love for us, which they show with their love for each other, but also, you know, like you said, being competitive, being committed, and there's oh man, like I know last year we talked about next year, but it's like next year though, like it's gonna be a fun year. Yeah, and I feel like, you know, that anticipation, I think it's healthy, but I'm kind of hoping that it like levels out eventually, you know, so we can just get more year-to-year consistency, you know, kind of like a Maranatha or like a Bob Jones or like, you know, somebody who has traditionally been very good, you know, like you kind of know what to expect of them, and they know what to expect, and their culture is like so deeply rooted. Like those are really like who I'm looking out at, you know, just down to like little details of like, what are their jerseys? Like, you know them when you see them, and like, how do they carry, you know, themselves when they come in the gym, and like, you know, and yeah, just prayerfully like getting to a program that like, oh, we have to play them again.
People like enjoy to be around, but also equally are kind of like,
like I love like fellowshipping with them, really? But I don't want to play them because they're good.
But like just stay in the course and like challenging ourselves to like keep doing it for the right reasons.
Yes. Keeping the main thing.
Because you know, obviously, like I think we can all agree, like it's just so easily just like slip wayside and like give into that temptation if we're weak, and especially when we're alone. And so I think as long as we really keep it tight and stick together, and like for us as a volleyball program, but also just for athletics in general.
Yes.
Like I just feel like we can like Eagles. Just soar. We can soar. And yeah, like we can do anything. So yeah, I'm just really excited.
And I think I think my favorite part this year is like, especially with the volleyball team, like just how like involved they are in everything. Like they're the first ones there doing stuff at like the concerts or the other games, or sitting with other people in the dining hall, like just being there. And I think that's been so encouraging to see that too. Like, they love each other. They love one another. They love their classmates.
You got a good group.
You got a really good group. Really good group. But yeah, so we're excited about the outlook of next year. And we're excited because after this, we're going to talk to one of our buddies. No, I'm just kidding. Our court captain, Lauren Fessler. We're going to hear from her experience from this year, and just kind of, you know, this year to last year. And we're excited about that. So tune in for the interview. And welcome back. We're super excited to have sophomore all-around player Lauren Fessler out of Hazel Green, Wisconsin, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Dubuque. But Lauren, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're excited that you've been on the podcast before Landon has. So
yes.
But Lauren, tell us, what are you studying here at Emmaus?
I'm studying nursing. I'm a nursing student.
Nice. What are your goals, or what do you envision doing after you graduate?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm kind of waiting till clinicals my senior year to see what I like and what I don't like, and things like that. But yeah,
hopefully second semester clinicals, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep. Obviously, this year to last year, wow, what a difference! Praise the Lord for that.
Yeah.
What are some highlights or some of your favorite moments from this previous season? that you can think of?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind for me for a season highlight is definitely beating Maranatha in their gym.
Yes. Not just beating them,
but
sweeping them.
Yeah, that was by far like the most fun game I think that I've played in my whole like college career. But yeah, that was awesome. So much fun.
And that was so cool. Like your dad surprised you, your sister came up, and then like so many Emmaus, like we had that whole section of Emmaus fans, and that
so
was
many parents.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely had a cheering section. So that was a lot of fun. And then just in general, I think road trips are always just great team bonding experiences and just getting to know the girls. Like we had a bunch of freshmen, obviously. We had 6 freshmen. So just right off the bat, being able to travel so much at the beginning of the season and just get to know them.
Long road trips.
Yeah, really long. So that just allowed us to get to know them really well right off the bat, which was really fun.
And I think people don't realize like how fun road trips are.
Yeah.
Like that's like, you know, like preseason's awesome where you don't have school, but you have like practice and like, you know, 2-a-days and then team bonding, but like road trips, like that's where like the memories happen. And that's where you get those lifelong friends, which is so cool.
Definitely. Yeah.
What is something that you really appreciate about Coach Hannah these past 2 years that you've been a part of the program?
Okay. There's so much. This is a hard question. I mean, it's not a hard question. I could say so much.
There's so much to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think the main thing that I appreciate the most is just how, like, right away when she stepped into the head coaching position, she made it just her primary goal to have a Christ-centered culture.
Yes.
Which, I mean, you can say that about every coach at Emmaus, but yeah, I just really appreciate that about her and how she emphasizes that so much. Like right away, at the beginning of the season, we have like our preseason meetings and all this. And that's just, I mean, she could talk about that for a long time, but yeah, just how she really emphasizes having a Christ-centered culture and that is what we're competing for is to glorify Christ. And yeah, just really like focusing on loving your teammates well and how that is such a testimony to other people. And yeah, just her Christ-centeredness through coaching.
I think it's really cool. Like, you know, like obviously like we mainly play Christian schools, but there's a lot of times we'll play non-Christian schools and just being able to exemplify that to them of like, yes, we are different. Yes, we want to be competitive. We want to win, which we were this year, which is really cool to see. Like, you know, you can keep that Christ-centeredness first and foremost at top. You can still be pretty good while you're playing. So like, I just love that. Like, that's so important. Like, you know, I think Emmaus does I know Emmaus does a really good job with that in all their sports. And it's just so encouraging just to see, you know, keeping the main thing and continuing building off of that, which we're super grateful about. But speaking of that, growth. Yeah. Man, what a difference between this year and last year. What are some major things like you've seen either personal or as a team? Obviously like last year you were in a different position. You were playing setter. And then this year with the talent that came in, you got moved positions where you kind of played everything. Yeah. But kind of tell us like, your thoughts about last year to this year and like kind of like that experience of how last year helped with, you know, the success that we had this year.
Yeah. I think a big part of the growth from last year to this year, like at the beginning of this season was just knowing that like we knew how to win, that we could win. Like that was a big part of it. Yeah. Obviously coming off of last year, having no wins, it was rough. But yeah, I think just learning how to win and knowing, like having that confidence in ourselves that we could do it. And then just throughout the season, like learning more and more to trust each other. You know, whether it's on the court or off the court, just trusting your teammates is such a huge thing. So yeah, I think we experienced a lot of growth in that way. And then after we knew we could win, it was just a matter of, okay, so let's go do it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
How would you say, like, I think this is kind of fun, like for you, you know, 3 of your current teammates and 1 of your future teammates, like you played against them in high school. You played against Michelle in high school. You played against Sayla in high school. You played against Brooke in high school. You played against Rachel who's coming in this upcoming year. How is that like super fun? Or how is like that dynamic of like your competitors, but now like your best friends, your teammates, Yeah,
for sure. I think it's especially that way with Michelle because, I mean, Brooke and Sayla, I played in high school, but not like on a regular basis. But Michelle was like
rivals.
Unity and Tri-State. Yeah, like we...
friendly rivals.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, very friendly rivals. So, yeah, it's just crazy. Like I never thought I would play in college with her. And I think it's just cool to see how God works like that. But,
it really is.
Yeah, it's been so fun. And I always like I feel like we just had like a mutual respect for each other throughout high school. You know, we played the same position obviously. So yeah, and I knew she, you know, she's a great player. She's a great teammate. She always has been. And so I was just super, super excited to play with her.
It was the right move.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And I like what you said. Like, I think it's just so cool, like looking back and seeing like, okay, how God moves and how he works things out. Like in the present, you're like, God, I trust you. I just don't know what's going on. And then you're looking back and you're like, man, I'm so thankful for this happened or this didn't happen. It's just like, oh, praise the Lord. Like, it's so great.
Yeah.
Next year, what's something, I mean, we got some talent coming in next year. Shout out Coach Hannah and Coach Megan for that. But what are some things you're looking forward to next year? Like to build off of, you know, last year to this year and how we can keep going next year.
Yeah. I think, I mean, we talk a lot about how we're kind of like this past season was almost like the second year of our rebuilding year or rebuilding years. So I'm just excited to like keep moving forward in that and just continue to get more competitive.
Yes.
And be able to compete with higher level teams. Once, you know, we have all this skill coming in, which all of us are so excited about.
I mean, watching that open gym the other night, like, holy cow, like goosebumps.
I know it was so much fun to just to have like 15 girls in the gym. Like it was crazy.
Which we've never, like that's the most we've ever had. And it's going to be so cool. Like I think 12 was the most we've ever had on an Emmaus volleyball team.
Wow.
So having 15, it's like, what a luxury. Like,
yeah, no kidding. Like we can actually scrimmage 6-on-6, which is like so helpful.
And it's 6-on-6 volleyball girls, not just, you know, athletic girls.
Right.
It's true volleyball players, which is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, overall, I'm just really, really excited. Ready to, it's weird because like, I think Coach Hannah was kind of saying this too, how, you know, there was probably like a week after the season where I was like, okay, I'm a little burnt out. Like I could use a break. And then after that, it was like, okay, it's go time. Like, let's get back in the gym and let's start working again.
We're going.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think overall just excitement, for the girls who are coming in.
Yeah.
Coach Megan and Coach Hannah are really good at recruiting not only great players, but just great people who are just so fun to be on a team with.
That is so important.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Kind of last question for you, like what kind of growth have you seen? Like obviously like last year you were the court captain, this year the court captain, and taking on that leadership role. Obviously you guys do like a leadership council buddy system. How have you seen yourself growing and becoming a leader for this team?
Yeah. I think
team captain couple.
Team captain. Yeah.
You and Landon.
Oh my goodness. I knew you were going to talk all about
this. Yeah, your dad's
but
going to punch me after this.
Yeah, probably.
Again.
I don't know. I think it's been a privilege to be able to be a court captain, and just like with the position of setter, it's just kind of something that comes along with it. You're just kind of almost like the quarterback of the team. And it was weird, or not weird, but just different. Still being like in that position as a captain, but not in the setting position. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's it's a fun thing. I don't know.
And it's cool. Like you have such a good group of girls that you're able to lead, and like, I mean, this team, like I love this team and just how close they are, how much they love each other, how obviously, like you said, how competitive they are, but how much they love the Lord and love each other and are just super supportive. And like, you know, you're always sitting together, which is so encouraging to see that. Like the team, teams love each other.
Right. But I think that's just a huge part of, being like a captain or a leader on a team, especially at Emmaus, is just the spiritual side of it, and being able to be a spiritual leader, which also Emma Stanley is amazing at. I love Emma Stanley for that reason. She's great at organizing team devos and Bible studies and things like that. But yeah, I think a big part of it is just keeping the team centered on Christ, even when, you know, things aren't going our way. And
which you guys did such an incredible job looking back at last year, and just like that foundation and how it turned into this year and in the future. Like, it's just so cool to see that. Like the Lord works out for, you know, the good things to happen when you rely on him and trust him and put your everything in him. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think like, the first, like my freshman year, you know, that really rough year, obviously was super hard in the midst of it. But then after we got out of it, I talked a lot with the coaches about this too, but how we were really, really thankful for that season, even though it was really hard and we didn't win any games. But I think we needed that in order to be able to focus so much on our culture like we did.
Yes.
So yeah, like looking back, really, really thankful for it. And, you know, now we have great team culture. So
we do. And back-to-back sportsmanship awards in the conference, which is incredible, which is, you know, like we said, keeping the main thing.
Right.
And other people are seeing that, and it's just super encouraging. So, Well, Lauren, we appreciate you being on the podcast, and everyone, sophomore, all-around position player, Lauren Fessler. We appreciate you guys, the support this season. The support was amazing. The future is really bright. It's a great day to be an Emmaus Eagle, and thank you guys for this episode.